Some gods are good.
And some gods are evil.
But which of the evil comic book gods is the most powerful?
Keep watching to find out.
Welcome back, Nerd Squad. I'm your host, Ben Ball.
And I'm your host, Amanda McKnight. Today we'll be counting down the top 10 most powerful supervillain gods.
Let's find out who makes the cut and jump into it. Barbatos, or Barbatos. From the DC Universe, Barbatos, aka the Hyper-Adapter, is a bat-like cosmic being that often appears in the form of a bat-like demon that can traverse time and space freely. But in the new 52, the character is reimagined as the god of the dark multiverse and the first incarnation of Batman. Yes, you heard it right. This super evil demon god is actually known to have taken the form of a bat in Wayne Manor, which Bruce takes as a sign from his late father to commit to the Batman mantle. I don't know why he does this though, because Batman then commits his whole life to fending off evil forces. It's sort of a trade-off, because although Batman goes on to become, well, Batman, Barbatos ends up using the hero as a portal to the multiverse, and starts work on assembling his own roster of evil Batmen, called the Dark Knights. This would include Batman Who Laughs, among others.
Number 9. Parallax. Parallax isn't technically or officially a god, but they are one of the manifestations of the emotions of the color spectrum, an avatar and physical manifestation of fear, what the color yellow represents and embodies, at least over at DC Comics. And they are also a cosmic entity who is super ancient and powerful, so I think in regards to Green Lantern lore and importance, we can put them on god level. Parallax was the one responsible for taking over Green Lantern Hal Jordan, feeding on his own fear and insecurities over the years. In fact, the graying of his hair at his temples was later pointed out as an indicator of Parallax's growing strength. Fun fact. At least that's how some people saw it. Could also just be Hal getting older, really. Parallax took over Hal, becoming one with him, and causing Jordan to give up his Green Lantern mantle, and be known simply as Parallax. As Parallax, Hal Jordan threatened the entire universe and destroyed the Green Lantern Corps and their major battery, which is pretty villainous and powerful stuff.
Knull, the original creator of the symbiotes and eldritch god of darkness. Knull is a very powerful and very old villain. He is first awakened when Celestials invade his kingdom, and he decides it is time to create his first symbiote. His first creation comes in the form of a sword, which he uses to decapitate a Celestial. This is his first big demonstration of power, and it's quite something. He then decides to branch out and expand his venture of creating symbiotes to take over all of the good in the cosmos. And he does this by creating what's known as a hive mind center with himself as the nexus, meaning he'll have control over any and all symbiotes that are controlled through the hive. His army then really starts coming together with draconic monsters, anamorphic creatures, and shadow men, all under his control and dedicated to satiating his evil hunger for life. Luckily though, Knull eventually finds himself disintegrated in the center of the sun. But that's a huge fast forward I did there. This villain god does some serious damage to the greater good of life in the cosmos before he's finally taken out.
Number 7. Khonshu. Khonshu is an inherently an evil god when it comes to actual Egyptian mythology, just to be clear. And even in the world of Marvel, he's actually done a lot of good. But he's also done some pretty shady things. Especially recently, he's done some pretty shady things. During the Age of Khonshu event in the Avengers series, Khonshu actually used his avatar Moon Knight, aka Mark Spector, known as the Fist of Khonshu, to help him defeat Mephisto. Now while this sounds like a good thing, since when it comes to Marvel's gods, Mephisto being like Marvel's devil or Satan is kinda one of the worst, it turned out to not be so good after it was revealed that Khonshu planned on taking over the earth and turning it into his own Egyptian underworld. This revelation caused Moon Knight to turn on his god, and as Khonshu often likes to remind us, his father, teaming up with the Avengers to take him down. Following this, Khonshu would actually become imprisoned in the dungeons of Asgard, and while he can still visit Moon Knight via visions, he can no longer be physically present on Earth while imprisoned.
Mephisto. This guy is known as an extra-dimensional demon who takes on the likeness of a traditional devil from the Christian religion, and he resides in a place he calls Hell, or Hades, but he isn't actually Satan, and his homeworld isn't actually Hell as we know it. He uses these terms in an effort to exploit the constructs of fear and evil that humans have instilled into our culture. Although he does have ties to the original story of Adam and Eve in the form of the snake in that tale, so I don't know, seems kinda Satan-y to me. But His origins are widely understood to be unknown, and one of the only theories comes from the story of Nemesis. This being was born at the beginning of time and tried to create other beings in the likeness of his own immense power, but accidentally created a bunch of demons. And as you guessed it, Mephisto is one of these demons. Nemesis then ends his own life and becomes the Infinity Stones. That's just a side bit of lore for you, in case you didn't know. But thank God the Infinity Stones are banned for demons, because if Mephisto got his hands on those, it'd be all over.
Number 5, Perpetua. I kind of feel bad actually that Perpetua is only like halfway up this list, but that's alright. She had her time in the sun. It has come to a close. Perpetua has to be one of the most powerful godlike beings in all of DC Comics. She basically sought to take over and destroy all of the multiverse so that she might rebuild it in her own image, but was stopped by her children and trapped in the Source Wall. By the way, one of her children is also on this list. See if you can figure out who it is. Later on, she teamed up with the Batman Who Laughs to get free, but ended up being double-crossed by him, tricked out of her own reality-shattering power. Still, the power was originally hers, and she was trapped in the Source Wall because there was nowhere else strong enough to hold her originally. Perpetua's only downside as a being who can bend reality and even life and death to her whim is that she relies on crisis energy to fuel her immense power, which is how the Batman Who Laughs was able to steal her power from her. He was like, I'm gonna take that crisis energy. Gulp. Yum.
Chthon is one of the original Elder Gods that inhabited Earth billions of years ago. Over time, Chthon becomes the first black magician on Earth after studying the mystical forces of the universe. Unfortunately, about 1 billion years ago, these Elder Gods that Chthon was a part of degenerate and start turning into demons, Chthon included. Luckily, one of them, Gaia, avoids this transformation and keeps her pure form, giving birth to Adam, who makes it their duty to slay these demons. But Chthon avoids the God Eater and escapes by creating another dimension known as the Flickering Realms. Chthon's writings are left on Earth in the form of scrolls, which are eventually bound together into the Darkhold. So his influence continuously finds its way back to Earth despite his banishment to this new dimension. He even possesses Modred and eventually Scarlet Witch for a time to keep pushing his evil magic agenda on his original home of Earth.
Number 3, Darkseid. Another guy that doesn't know how to chill. Even though Perpetua can literally bend reality to her whim, Darkseid is constantly in the DC universe, which means he basically has to always exist. You can't ever really defeat him because Darkseid is. What is Darkseid? No, he just is. Every time I say this in a video, I'm like, it sounds so confusing, and I feel like anyways, I'm gonna explain it to you right now. Darkseid is a short phrase that implies that Darkseid will always exist. This also extends to the idea of what Darkseid represents. The phrase was actually introduced by Grant Morrison, and to me it has always embodied the idea that Darkseid is more than just the being. He's the feeling, the fear, the destruction, and in some cases, the oppression that Darkseid represents. Even without Darkseid, those things still exist, and so in a way he can never really be gone. But also you can interpret this phrase more literally, as after all, Perpetua may have been a powerhouse, but she's gone now. Well, Darkseid still is.
Anti-Monitor. We all know this guy. He's a real thorn in the side of everything good in the universe. He's also another one of those characters that finds his origins at the very dawn of time. Okay, so he's not around since day one, but almost. He's first created as the result of a conflict on the ancient planet of Oa, during which the inhabitants fight it out over the decision of whether to destroy all of the evil in the universe or only some of it. It's crazy how petty wars can be, eh? Even in the ancient cosmos. Anyway, the bad guys go to a dimension called Cord, where Anti-Monitor is birthed. In the Positive Matter universe, the Monitor is also created, the counterpart to Anti-Monitor as you can tell, and you best believe those two end up fighting. But it's no normal war. They battle it out for 1 million years, and I'll save you a million years and skip to the end, it ends in a tie. They both go unconscious and hibernate for 9 billion more years. Of course, this is just the beginning. Anti-Monitor comes in and out of pretty much every DC character's story at one point or another as a major threat, and I'm sure you can guess why.
Number 1, the one below all. Probably one of the most powerful of all gods in the Marvel Universe. Definitely the most powerful god I would say, on this list. The one below all is the dark counterpart to the one above all, which is seen as the creator of all the Marvel Universe and multiverse besides, one of the most powerful beings of goodness in the whole of Marvel Comics. Likewise, the one below all is therefore one of the most powerful beings of evil. They are typically connected to gamma mutates, and can control and manipulate those who have been mutated by gamma radiation. The crazy thing is that without the one below all, we actually can't have the one above, and vice versa. One cannot exist without the other, and so with them both comes a whole lot of bad and a whole lot of good. So there we have it.
What did you think of this list? Lay it all out in the comments below. I've been your co-host Ben.
And I've been your other co-host Amanda.
And this
has been Top 10
Sorry, fuck. Oh my god.
Let's do it together.
Okay,
I think that's great, right?
And this has been your...
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
And this has been Top 10 Nerd. Use social media responsibly, but follow us on socials if you'd like.
And follow Top 10 Nerd on Facebook, cause we're active over there.
Okay, until next time, thanks so much for watching, guys. Stay nerdy.
Bye.
Oh, really?
That was the hidden baby that was on this list. Monitor also, I believe, is also the child of Perpetua. All her babies so powerful. Most powerful babies of all.
Man.
So, there we have it.
Wait, sorry, start again. I was doing some dumb shit.
Great, keep that in. That seems like it'll be gold. I don't know what was happening because I wasn't looking.
Just fixing my hair, okay.
So,